We are back to the OHIO podcast, and there he is, everybody. Two-time Ohio State drum major, Dalton, and I don't want to mess your last name up, so pronounce it for me.
Cararo.
Cararo. Thank you very much, Dalton. I appreciate that. I see you got the nice little Tabittle t-shirt you're sporting there.
Yes,
Thank you so much for coming on the OHIO podcast with us. We truly appreciate that. And let's just jump right in. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and how you ended up being one of the drum majors there at Ohio State.
like he said, my name's Dalton Cararo. I'm from Gahanna, Ohio, which is northeast of Columbus. I went to Gahanna Lincoln High School. I was the drum major at Gahanna Lincoln in 2017 and 2018. Graduated in 2019. Came to Ohio State 2019 as well, and I was the assistant drum major for the Ohio State marching band in 2020 and 2022.
Wonderful. So, how did you get into being a drum major?
I played trombone back in high school, and my director kind of just was kind of preaching about we need a new drum major eventually for the high school, and he called me to his office after band one day. Not really sure what it was about. He thought I had the right mindset for it, and I kind of signed up for Ohio State sessions because Ohio State, the drum majors as well as the marching band, host sessions throughout the year to train to be like them. Went to a couple of them, and I just kind of took off from there. Been one of my dreams ever since I was as a freshman in high school.
So, did you have to put the trombone down and pick up the taban or the well? Now I'm messing up the word baton. Thank you, Chris. That's why you're there to help me. Is that how that works? Like you kind of put the instrument down, or did you get to do both while you're in high school?
Because marching band was a part of the regular band, I got to play trombone throughout the concert band year, which is about majority of school. But during marching band rehearsals, I would just twirl a baton. And I still play trombone in Ohio State today.
So when did you start with it? Because I mean, that's not just a skill that you just wake up with, right? Like you've got to put in a ton of practice. So when did you start, and how long did it take till you felt like I could do this thing, man?
I started about midway through my freshman year. Like I said, Ohio State hosts free sessions. I've gone to them ever since I started. So I've been doing this for about 8 years now, and 8 years and growing strong. I can tell you that.
How many hours of practice did you put in?
Couldn't tell
on
you.
Average. Let's just say on a course of a week.
Depending on the week, usually about 10, maybe. Probably a lot more than that. Kind of just depends. Like if it's tryout season, everyone's 1, maybe 2 hours a day. So it kind of just depends.
Awesome. We do have a comment here from one of the watchers right now. He says, Larry Daniel says, welcome, Dalton. How many hours each week does the band? Oh, does the band practice? Okay. How many hours each week does the band practice? And I think let's piggyback off that question with this one, Dalton. Do you, as a drum major, do you guys have to be there for all their practices as well?
I'll answer the first one first, or the second one first, my bad. Yes, we do. At Ohio State, we are just like a normal band member. We go to all the practices Monday through Friday, and as well as Saturday morning if there's a game. The band practices about 2 hours a day, just for like standard practices. So on average, we practice about 10 hours a week on a normal week, plus 2 hours before a game day. But regular band members are required to have memory checks, so they practice, countless hours. I hear them in the stadium every single day, just practicing their music so they are ready for memory checks on Fridays.
That's incredible, man. It's just the effort that Tabittle puts in there. So, okay. How many drum majors, so we know that there are seats, right, in the band. Is the same thing apply for drum majors?
Yes.
Okay.
Just like the rest of the band, if you look at the pregame block, when the band comes out of the tunnel, each one of those rows they're considered rows, but in other terms you can call them ranks. The drum majors have one as well. There's the head drum major, the assistant drum major, and then up to 7 training underlings throughout the band. They are, if you look at a pregame block on the south side of the field, on the away side, there you see a giant line. Those are alternates, and the rest of the drum major trainees are in that row as well.
Okay. That's awesome. So little inside baseball. And again, if there's any question that we ask that you're not allowed to answer, by all means, just say, "Yeah, I can't do that one." Do you guys hang out with the guys who play Brutus?
I cannot answer that question. It's a good question, though.
Chris, what you got, man?
Okay, so Dalton, it's pretty well documented. We've talked to a lot of the football guys, our former players on here, who they talk a little bit about the physical and mental demands of being associated with Ohio State football. So I'm sure the band has the same type of physical and mental demands. How can you tell us a little bit about that, as far as what it takes, the tryout process, the actual earning your spot and keeping your spot, and then how you balance all that with your scholastic activities?
I could say for like balancing wise, it kind of just depends on the person. Myself, and I know a bunch of band members, we do school homework in the stadium as we're practicing. So they'll play their instrument one moment, and then we're doing math homework in the next moment. So balancing wise, mentally, during some situations, it can get a little tough. Like this past year, we had 5 straight home games. For every home game, the band does a new show. It's a pretty incredible feat that not just the drum majors, but especially regular members of the marching band can do. It's simply amazing to me how they do this. So new music every week and new shows every week. It gets pretty stressful, but we all come together as a family, and we can help each other out. As far as tryout process goes, are you talking more about the marching band tryout or the drum major tryout? Because they're two different ones.
Tell us a little about both, if you could.
So drum major tryouts are typically held at the end of April / first couple of days of May. So this past couple of weeks, we had a new drum major and new assistant drum majors. So I'm super proud of them. The tryout process for drum majors is a little different than the rest of the band. It's only over technically one day, but say it's a Friday and Saturday. The candidates will have an interview on Friday with the directors and alumni. And then on Saturday, typically around 1 to noon, they'll do a performance tryouts. The performance tryouts consist of 3 different categories. The ramp, which is the first opening of pregame. So when you see the drum major run down the tunnel, do the back bend in the field and run through. That's the first part. Second part is a routine. The people on the trainee row, also known as D row, we all come together and we pick a song from this previous year and we make a routine for it. We do our own. We don't have a coach choreograph us. We kind of just improvise it first and then make it solidified in the end. The last thing the drum majors do is an aerial section. So we'll do 5 tosses that are really high, and it's just kind of, who can do the coolest stuff underneath this. It's pretty neat, spectacular thing, and you can probably find some videos on it YouTube wise.
Yeah, there was a pretty cool one there. I guess we call
Sports
it
Center.
The boomerang baton. So what is the secret? Can you share with us the secret of the
before he answers that, Chris, let's set this up. So there is a video floating around of our man down there, Dalton, who got on Sports Center with let's call it baton magic. Okay.
Yeah. That's amazing. It really
he literally flips the baton one direction, it hits the ground, and magically reappears in his hand like a wand, like he's a wizard. Dalton, how you do this thing, man? Come on.
First off, I want to say a science teacher, or I think a physics teacher, did a 20-minute video on it. The science. It was really fun to watch. So we call that it's a rather simple name. We call it a ground bounce. Throw it and it'll hit the ground and come back to you. As cool as a trick is, and trust me, it's amazing to us. Even when we do it to all of us, we've done these stuff together forever. That actually isn't really that new. Dwight Hudson, I believe, was the first one to do it on the field in 1978, and there's a video of it. So don't really know why that became so popular, because we've been doing it for decades. But it is really cool, and it is an ultimate fan favorite. I can vouch for that.
I kind of felt like he was using the Force, Eric.
That's the point. That's the point.
He might be a Jedi. I don't know. There's some magic happening there. I don't know. Here's a question. Larry Daniels wants to know how many drum majors make the travel squad when you guys go on the road?
So this is a great question. So on the rule book, it's up to 7 plus the 2 drum majors. So 7 plus 2 is 9. Um, that doesn't always happen every single year. So when the sessions I mentioned earlier about me being in high school, there's a bunch of high schools that do it, and you're only allowed to be on the drum major training road for 2 years. So just to keep it, keep the people coming in and just keep making them work hard. So this past year we had a full group. We had Austin Bowman, who's the head drum major, myself, the assistant drum major, and then we had 7 trainees. I think this coming year, not including the 2 drum majors, they might have 4 or 5. I'm not really sure, but it kind of just changes throughout the year or throughout the years.
Sammy Poston's in the house. I wanted to be sure and say hello to Sammy. Sammy's a longtime listener, and it's good to have you here with us tonight, Sammy. So thank you so much for stopping in. If any of you else have any questions for Dalton, please feel free to put those in there. Dalton, let's go here, man. What has been your favorite thing so far in your drum majoring career at Ohio State that you have had the opportunity to experience?
I think my favorite thing about being one of the drum majors was being in a position to lead. I love leadership. I study it basically. It's one of my favorite things to do. But I love that I had the opportunity to not only lead band members, but I got to lead my friends to do something that we've all dreamt of doing.
Your favorite game that you got to attend?
Ooh,
So you've gotten to go see some pretty good ones, man.
Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. That game was something. That was my favorite. That was my favorite football game that I've been to. It was something. It was unbelievable. I still watch it. I have it saved on my computer. I watch it all the time.
That's awesome. Chris, got one, buddy?
Yeah. Dalton, my son is a little bit of a musician himself. He's just in the 5th grade, but playing in the orchestra, but he's shown some interest in obviously, picking up possibly a saxophone or something like that, playing in the band as well. For a young person like that, who maybe has aspirations as you did of someday becoming an Ohio State band member, what advice would you give a kid as far as the best way to pursue that?
Um, the easiest way to say it would be hard work, but because the Ohio State marching band is an all brass band, I knew a couple of people that were. I mean, I'm not gonna name her, but she was one of the best clarinets I've ever heard in my life in
Mhm.
high school, and she went to Ohio State and actually tried it on cymbals. She made the band. She made the band. So if you're like a woodwind player or a strings player,
Mhm.
um, it it's a great idea to learn a brass instrument earlier because you get more
Mhm.
time with it. But if you really like woodwind and strings, but you still want to be in the Ohio State marching band, practice some percussion stuff. I've met a lot of woodwind players
That's,
that I made in percussion, and
that's a
they're
frightening
fantastic
thought giving
players.
my son cymbals. That's cymbals and
You
drums.
could get
I
them like the
won't
little 1 inch ones. They're like
I
ding, ding, ding.
I won't sleep again.
The only thing I can see right now in my mind, Chris, is that little monkey going ching ching ching. That's all I can see right now. Him walking around your house just ching ching.
Don't give Bobby any ideas. She's a
Oh my
Rottweiler and she
gosh.
just send it dancing.
Donald Hopper to the second says, "What do drum majors do during the off season? Keep it clean, Dalton."
Um, uh, this is a good one. We're all really good friends. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a bad relationship with anyone that I've ever trained with. So it's kind of funny during the off season. We tend to stay away from each other because we're all trying to do these great things for tryouts. Because for drum majors at Ohio State, you have the band season in the fall or the summer through the fall, and then you have this like gap part where it starts up again, and that's right where drum major tryouts is. So everyone's kind of, we're not hiding from each other, but we're not practicing in front of each other too much. So we kind of just train on our own with alumni drum majors who are a phenomenal resource that we have, and we'd love to have them any chance we can get.
How,
But we just train and train and train and train and train, really.
Dalton, how many people typically try out for a drum major position?
My guess is around, I think the average number is 4 or 5. But again, it fluctuates because there's been some years where there's been like 4, and there's been some years where like this past year there's been 8. So it kind of fluctuates.
All right, a couple more here. Larry says, "Is there any physical conditioning regimen you follow?"
I'm not really sure what that means entirely.
What kind of workout do you need to do to stay in
Oh,
shape? Yeah.
mainly just a lot of conditioning. What we do is a lot. It's very fast. Like, don't get me wrong, it's very fast. What we do, like, if you want to be specific, if you look like a regular band's members, like lungs to hours, they're two different things. They're more of endurance, and we're more, or sorry, they're more stamina, and we're more endurance. So just a lot of cardio. A lot of drum majors work out as well. Like I work out all the time. But it's not really required. It's more of just who's extremely flexible, and that comes with
Yeah.
stretching a lot and just doing a lot of cardio really.
Is that part of the tryout? Is the stretch where you gotta tilt your head back and touch it to your little
Yep.
feather on your hat to the field? Is that part of the
Yep.
whole deal there?
I can confidently say during tryouts that is the scariest part.
Really?
Oh yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And especially during game days as well. I've never done a pregame on the field, but I remember Connor Barr, who was drum major in 2018 and 2019 for Ohio State, as well as Austin Bowman, and then coming. I was asking like, how was it? They go, that's scary. It's it's the scariest part because that's the biggest part of the entire day that everyone is looking at you.
If it was me, I'd be scared of running down that ramp. That's no joke, man.
No.
It's steep. I don't.
Like, it's seriously steep.
Yeah, I think I was listening to the podcast you had last year, and she said it wasn't really like up to code, and it's kind of true. So it's scary when it's slippery, but it's really intimidating, but it's fun. It is really fun to do.
Yeah. Okay, Script Ohio, man. Come on. That's got to be one of the coolest things in the world to be able to do, right? Like that. And like, okay, so walk us through it. Are there certain steps you have to have memorized and numbers and things in your head? Like, there's got to be a lot to it. It's not just go out there and I get to march around and script out the state name. Like, there's got to be a lot to that.
Yeah, so for every formation the band does, there's charts, and usually it's kind of just go there and you kind of just make it use just like a straight line or a curve this way or this way. For script, it's classified as a follow the leader drill, and obviously the leader is the drum major in this at least in this situation. So the band gets in a giant block and it unwinds, but for I'm not going to break it down, but it is a bunch of numbers that I have known, since my first like the first day after I made the band, 9 o'clock the next morning, we were going over some stuff. At 10:30, I was learning Script Ohio as a trainee. It's something we take very, very, very seriously, obviously with the drum majors, because if we mess up, I don't even want to imagine that. But it's a lot of numbers, and I could throw them all at you at once, but it won't make any sense at first.
Are you counting in your head while
Yes.
while you're doing it? Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the drum major, like if you're like, especially if you're low or there's a camera low, you can kind of see us like we're staring at something, but we're not actually looking. We're kind of just counting the numbers in our head. There's a lot of field markers we use, so like the top of the numbers, the hash marks, bottom of the numbers, now the Safe Light Field logo. There's a lot of markers we use to guide.
Gotcha. Yeah, it kind of makes sense, but I just wanted to get the nuts and bolts behind it. Dalton, do you have a favorite field to play on besides the shoe? And then I'm gonna piggyback on that and say, what's the best stadium you've been in, not the Horseshoe, in the Big Ten?
I could give two answers to my favorite. My obviously the shoe, but my favorite to perform on is obviously the Team Up North Stadium. It's the sheer boos we get is so encouraging to be up there. It really is. A lot of people admit it. Some of our favorite part about Script Ohio is just getting booed at. The other one, it goes with the stadium as well as the field, was a Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta for the Peach Bowl.
Okay.
That was the coolest stadium I have ever been in my life. And
Really? Why is that?
oh yeah, I think it's brand new. The architecture was nice, but I mean it was nice. I like that that circle of a TV. In fact, before the Peach Bowl started, we were watching the TCU Team Up North game, and the Ohio State fans were screaming every time TCU got a touchdown. So you're watching two games in one day.
They were doing a lot of screaming that night.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Ooh. Chris, you got another question, buddy? I don't want to hog it all up
It
here.
actually kind of piggybacks off what you guys were just discussing. Those were your favorites. Is there a place that just you absolutely were not a fan of playing? Maybe it has something to do with the crowd. Maybe it had something to do with the field conditions. Is there just some place that you did not necessarily enjoy playing?
I honestly don't think I could really name one.
Okay.
Too much, to be honest with you.
You haven't been to Illinois, have you?
No,
There
I went
you
to
go.
Indiana my first year. Is it
Yeah.
is it that bad?
Oh, it's bad. It's no matter when we go there, it is always raining or snowing, 20 degrees. The wind just goes through you. It's everybody will always say Illinois is just a terrible place to go there. Donald Hoffer says, I have friends that played in the Ohio State University marching band. Is there an actual rivalry between the bands, or is that just an OU thing? Ooh, good question.
I actually have a lot of friends from my high school that went to OU, and they absolutely adore it there. I mean, props to the 110 band. I think they do a really good job. I don't, for us, this is going to sound kind of cocky.
Conceited?
We don't
That's
really
all right. Bring it on. Bring it on.
We don't really have a rival in terms of bands. Some people like to some people like to say it, but it's, we don't really confer rivalry. Even with the team up north, I mean, we love their band. I love talking to them. They're really nice. Michigan State, Penn State. I mean, I love all these bands are super nice. I wouldn't really say there's a rivalry between marching bands, really.
But they're all the B team, right, Dalton?
That's right. That's
I
right.
am not answering that question.
There's only one best dang band in the whole land, right? There's only one.
Oh, yeah.
It's all right, man. This is a great question, Larry. How bad was the Northwestern weather last year?
We didn't go to that game.
See, that's the problem. That's what happened, man.
I'm not going to get too much into it, but the Ohio State marching band only goes to about 2 away games, excluding postseason games. So every time we play the team up north at their stadium, we always go there. So if there's 2 games we go to, that is always one of them. I think this coming year they're going to the Big House, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this or not, but maybe Notre Dame, maybe it's tentative. I don't know if they're going there or not, but it's usually about Northwestern we didn't go to, but I'm glad we did not because that looked horrible.
That looked bad. That's a good question though, Larry.
Yeah, it was.
All right. So you've told us what your favorite stadiums were. You told us what your favorite games were. We've dove into all of those things. All right. So this year's a little bit different for you. Are you still going to be a student this year? Is this your senior year, I think, or?
Yes, I will be a student this year.
Okay. So a little bit different role this year for you. Yes.
Yes, Tryout's didn't go my way, and I didn't get to uphold one of my spots this past year.
That stinks, man. That stinks, man. But
it does, but it keeps the program really fresh. And I've trained with these guys forever, and I am so gosh darn proud of them for doing what they did on Tryout Day. And if you haven't watched it, it's on YouTube or it's on Facebook on the Ohio State Marching Band.
Hats off to you for having a great attitude, Dalton. That's fantastic, man. And that's one of the things I have noticed about the band is it seems like it's a ginormous family. I love going, and this is kind of maybe a little bit off of what our topic here, but I love going to the skull session. My least favorite part of skull session is actually when the team comes in and you get the it's so fast. It's like 3 seconds and they're gone. It's like what just happened? But the band's enthusiasm and energy and downright rowdiness is fantastic. I love it, man. Talk a little bit about that family nature you guys have, the camaraderie that's created in the band between all the band members, and what just maybe sets to Biddle aside about that aspect of things. What do you enjoy about that?
My favorite part about the band is obviously the family part. Every row or rank tends to live together. Not everyone in one house, but they tend to have houses. They hang out all the time. Their friendships formed forever. I mean, a lot of my old band friends, their friends who are also in the band with them are going to each other's weddings and all this. For skull session, I love when the football team comes. It's such a hype moment for me, but it's also kind of sad because a lot of fans leave right after that and they don't kind of get to witness the great music. I think so thankful for everyone that does stay, but I kind of wish some people would stay just a little longer, just for a little bit of it. But the family thing is a great thing, and it's also a thing I've also know people that is the reason why they come to this band is they know that these rows are so intertwined with one another that I want a family outside of my bloodline, so they're kind of like I want to go here, so.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So there you go. Dalton has challenged all of you all. The next time you're at the Skull session, hang around a little bit longer. It's all right. No one's going to take your seat. I promise you. It'll still be there in the stadium waiting for you when you get in there. I mean, what are you going to go over there? Watch them warm up? I mean, come on.
There's a lot of neat things we do at Skull Session as well. We sing
Well,
the Navy hymn and stuff.
Yeah, so people who haven't, maybe who do leave after the football team leaves, what's going on in Skull Session? Tell them about it. Tell them what they're missing.
Skull Session is usually like our last. The reason why they call it Skull Session is from understanding I got is it's the last moment you have to get the music in your head. We play literally everything we're gonna do throughout the day. The entire pregame from ramp to the national anthem, the entire halftime show, and a couple of the songs. Hang on, Sloopy, maybe a lot of the rows will actually have these little road shoes they do. So when we're waiting for the football team to come in, I'm sure most people have seen this. But when we are waiting for the football team to come in, Rose will have these little tunes that they'll just play. We'll announce them. We'll announce the leadership team, the directors, just various stuff. And for like alumni game, you get to see alumni drum majors come out and perform at halftime, the halftime part of Skull Session and stuff like that, as well as the Eye Daughter. And they do a big tribute to the Eye Daughter every day or every week. So,
yeah. What's your favorite song in the band?
Sloopy.
Oh yeah,
By
right.
far. It gives me goosebumps, especially the singing version. I think a very very close second is Carmen and the Navy hymn. I love singing in this band.
All right. What's the banana thing?
That's so for sousaphones, their row or the rank name is K and L, so they just say Kel because it kind of goes together. That was their mascot. Oh, I'm not gonna speak for them because I know they're gonna get mad at me, but that has been their mascot for a very long time. Someone called them bananas or something along those lines, and it kind of just stuck. So it's just what they do. They have the big one that says "Beat Blue" on it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's nice.
It's a good tradition. I enjoy it. After a touchdown, you'll see people on each other's shoulders. Someone's waving the Ohio flag, and then it's like, "What's this banana doing out there? Like, what's going on with that?" But
end zone runs are a thrill. We love doing them.
All right. Scott Rogers says, I remember watching the band practice outside the stadium when my sister lived in the stadium dorm. I would watch the whole practice. I was an athlete, but I would have loved to have been part of Tabiddle. That's cool, man. I think all of us, I was never in band. I play a guitar in church. That's the extent of my musical endeavors. I think all of us who are Buckeye fans have a little bit of the I wish I was in the band kind of thing, because it just seems so doggone fun, man. It really does. It's really cool. I appreciate that comment, Scott. Yeah. So, are you allowed to? And if you're not, again, I understand. Are there any special performances or anything that the band's working on this year that we might get to see this year? Like any themes or anything?
I have no idea of the show tunes that they're selected. So, like in January, they have this kind of idea, like shoot kind of thing. You just like throw ideas at the director, see what sticks. I don't know what shows they're doing this year, but if you guys are looking for a performance to go to, they perform with the Columbus Symphony Orchestra, and I think late July. Sometimes it's called Picnic
or something.
Yeah, Picnic with the Pops. Yep.
There you go.
That's a great one.
Yeah. Are you going to be a part of the alumni band and stuff in the future?
Yes. Oh, certainly, yes.
That's cool.
Very thankful to be a part of it. That's
really cool, Dalton. That's really awesome. Anything else you'd like to share with us before we call it a night, my friend?
I have two things. If you're students and you're bored around 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock and you just want to do homework, go to Lincoln Tower Field and you can just kind of listen to or watch the band practice. It's kind of background noise. If you're fans, get up a little early, just a little extra early. Especially on those noon games, the band does a rehearsal before the game days, and you get to see the little traditions like uniform inspections and stuff like that. That stuff is very interesting to me, in my opinion, at least.
Is that, and that's over on the practice field, right on the south side?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. Yeah, that's very cool. And one of the things I love is, and I know we're going over a little bit, and I apologize. I love when you guys do the march over to the shot, or not to the shot, but to
yes.
St. John's Arena, and you're marching through the fan, and you're singing, and you're playing, and you're dogging the opponent, and I love that, man. I absolutely. That's one of my favorite things. To me, that's just as exciting as when the players walk by as they go into the stadium. That's really cool. And if you've never been there early enough to see that, to watch the band march from the stadium over to St. John's Arena is really, really cool. Always love that.
That's a lot of band members' favorite part of the day. Not pregame, not halftime, not postgame. It's to and from skull session. It's really fun.
That's cool. Larry says, thanks for being here, Dalton. The band and drum majors are incredible. And then he says, Tabittle with an exclamation mark. Thank you so much, Larry. That's awesome. Dalton, thank you so much for being with us, man. Truly appreciate that. And we want to invite all of you who are watching today, because you knew Dalton, and he's a family or friend or classmate or whatever. We do this live every Sunday night. We have all kinds of different visitors that we bring on and interview, past, former Buckeyes, now even drum majors from Ohio State. We can add that one to our bucket list, Chris.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Thank you so much, Dalton. We truly appreciate it.
Feel free to have me anytime.
All right. Sounds great. Hey, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH, and sing Carmen, Ohio with all your heart. And until next time, OH!
I-O!
I-O.
Go Bucks.